Hi everybody, welcome to Push Your Luck video. My name is Eric and today we'll be looking at Queen's Architect. This is a 2015 release by Queen's Game and it's by designer Volkan Schüchtelen. This is one of his first design actually. And it plays 2 to 4 players and it takes about 60 minutes to play the game. So this is I would say it's a medium weight Euro style game where players are trying to manage craftsmen and going around this kingdom and trying to build buildings, build temples and stuff like that, and eventually build the Queen's Palace. Alright, and they are trying to gain renown, trying to gain fame and popularity as they go around building all this. It's like a team of teamsters. Right? You're having a team of teamsters and you're going around building stuff. And if you manage to reach the end, that means you manage to go back to the Queen's Palace and build that final piece, then the game will end and whoever has the most points will win the game. So let's take a look at the components of Queen's Architect, how to play the game and my thoughts about the game. Alright, so these are the components you get with Queen's Architect. As you can see, the board is really big. This is a very big board. You need a bit of space to play. Because not only do you have a big board, each of the players will also have a little like star where they're putting their craftsmen at, and also a little like player board. This is you need a lot of space as well for all these things. So the components are all very good cardboard quality, so they're all quite nice thick cardboard quality. Good quality. The art is also very nice. If you look at the artwork, you will see that it is not terribly busy such that you cannot tell what's happening. It's pretty easy to understand what's going on once you get all the iconography down. Okay, so on this side you have, this is the craftsman that you can hire. Okay, there's different prices. You can hire any one of them. There's also, and once they are gone, they'll be replenished. This is the main board where you'll be moving your caravan, it's like a car for your teamsters. So you're moving them around the different places to build stuff. So these are the roads where you can move them along. Alright, and each of the places will have a certain number of requirements. So these are the requirements that you need. These are the craftsmen you need to have before you can build something there. I'll explain all this in details later. Then there are also points. First to build will get a certain number of points. Then if you build in later rounds in the same place, then you get negative points and less. That means you actually earn less points. This is the amount of cost that you need to pay when you move the wagon. Or can't really see that right now. So to move the wagon, you actually have to pay a certain amount of cost. Let me move out a bit. So you see that these are the costs that you need to pay for the wagons. If you move 1 space, 0 is free. Move 2 spaces is 1 coin. 3 spaces is 3 coins. 4 spaces 6 coins. 5 spaces 10 coins, and 6 spaces is 15 coins. All right. Each area that you are building you contribute building to will also have a limit. So you see that for the 2 space slots, maximum you get is 10 points. 3 space slots, 15 points. For 4 space slots, maximum is 20 points. There's also this track here, which is where it's like a race. So you're trying to move up as fast as you can to reach the top. So when you reach the top, and when you manage to get back to the Queen's Palace again, so you're kind of like going back to the palace and you're building stuff, you're like simulating a build there, then that will trigger the game end. And if you're the only one that has done that, then you win the game. If not, then there'll be a tiebreaker, a scoring thing, and to see who has actually won the game. This is the player board, as I mentioned. Here is the player board. So this is the tavern area. So this is where your workers will rest and you can kind of refresh them in a way. I'll explain the details later on. Now this is where you will be placing most of your craftsmen that you have gotten from the board. So you're placing them in like so. You can place them anywhere that you want. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is what number that is touching this particular hammer. That's the most important one. So like here touching here and here touching it will be very different. Alright, so this is 1 and this is 4. So it's quite different. So you can place them, doesn't matter where you are placing them, but the most important thing is whether you place them correctly when it's pointing, when you first place them there. Alright, so I'll explain all this in detail later. So components are good. For Queen games is good. So let's go to how do you play the game. Now, playing Queen's Architect is all about this player board. All right. So again, as I mentioned, you're going around building stuff. All right. But first, before you can build stuff, you need to get craftsmen. So this is where this comes in. So I'll shift this here a bit. All right. So this is where this board and these comes in. So I'll go through during your turn. All right. You'll be moving your this meeple around to indicate where you are and what actions you can do. Alright, during your turn you can only move this meeple 1 to 3 spaces. You cannot stay there, so you always must move 1, or you can move up to 3 spaces. Alright, so wherever you land, you do the action, and then that's your turn. Next player will do the action, and so on and so forth. Alright, so what are the different actions you can have around the board? Now the first action is the day action, day laborer action. So what it means is that you will get 1 goal, or 1 teller, they call it teller, 1 goal for every 2 craftsmen that you have in your player area right now, rounded up. So for example, if I had this one, I'll also get 1 goal, because one of them rounded up is 2, I also get 1 goal. 1 teller, I mean. So this will give you 1 teller as well. Now, there are some laborers, after you've gotten that, there are some laborers with this day laborer symbol, you can see here. For each of them, you can choose to click them. So one of the main concepts of the game is that you can rotate your craftsmen. You can see the arrows here will indicate how you can rotate them. So if you rotate them 1 time, right, you can get 2 more tellers for each craftsman that has this symbol that you decide to rotate when you take the day laborer action. So again, day laborer action gives you 1 teller for every 2 craftsmen that you have on the board on your area, rounded up. And for each craftsman that has this symbol, you can choose to rotate them once to get 2 more tellers. Right, so you could get quite a lot of money. Now, what is this rotating thing all about? This actually indicates the usefulness of a craftsman. So whenever let's say a craftsman reaches here, where the arrow touches the craftsman, you can no longer, after you use this craftsman will be discarded, so it's out of your team. Alright, so in a way, they have a lifespan. Each craftsman has lifespan, and during their lifespan, they'll give you different abilities. So like at the start, this break and mortar guy gives you 5, and then it drops by 1, and then goes back to 3 again, then drops by 1, then 2, and then that's it. So that's the limit of his usefulness for your team. Alright, so that's one of the main concepts in Queen's Architect. This clicking, I call it clicking, this rotating thing. Alright, the next thing you can do is to hire craftsmen. Right, so when you choose the hire action, alright, you will move the rest up. So let's say, for example, if I hire this one, alright, I'll depending on where I hire the person, you see each of the areas have this little X. This hammer here is a bit hard to see right now. I'll try to zoom in for you. Alright, you see each of the areas have a little hammer. Alright, this will indicate when you hire this person, when it comes to your board, it needs to be exactly where the hammer is. So you see, if I hire this person, this will be where it's at. Okay, if I hire this person, this will be where it's at. If I hire this person, this purple one will be at this 4 as well. So if I hire this will be at 3. So as mentioned, if I hire the top one, alright, it has a longer lifespan. That means it has more uses for me. If I hire the cheapest one, right, it's cheap, but it only have 1 more use. Once you use this, then it's over because of the arrow indicated here. Alright. Now if you hire any of them that is not the top one, you remove them, you move the rest of them upwards. Right, you move the rest of them outwards, and then you will now move this down by 1, so it becomes cheaper. Right, so that's how this hiring works in Queen's Architect. Okay, so after you're done so, you take whoever you hired. So this was from here, this was the 1. So remember where you have hired it, you can hold on to the 1 part and you put it into your area like so. Right, so now it becomes like that. So now you hired this seamstress, and she has only 1, 2, 3 more users left before she leaves your company or leaves your team. Alright, so that's a hiring. When you put it onto the board, it's always this symbol on top. Now the next action you can do is you can either sell bonds or move your money changer up. Alright, so this now you need to look at the player board. So the player board will have one of your meeples there as well to indicate the exchange rate for your bonds. So during the game, at the start of the game, we will have two bonds. During the game, you will also be able to get bonds. I'll explain how later on. Now, at the start of the game, you will be able to only exchange one bond. Every bond is always 2 tellers. Now, if you move it up further on, you can exchange more bonds at one time. So, if you choose the money changer action, you can either move this token up to indicate now I can change 2 bonds during one action, or I can change 3 bonds or 4 bonds. You can move one step up. Alright, then after that, when you go back there again, you can now change bonds as many as is indicated by your meeple there. Right, all bonds are the same. It's always 2 tellers, and you can keep as many bonds as you can in your play area. So the next action is the movement action. So this is if you come to here, you can now move this vehicle or this horse-drawn wagon around the board. Alright, you need to pay a amount of money depending on how many spaces you move, as I mentioned earlier. So I can move as many as I want. So I can move in circular fashion, doesn't really matter as long as I pay. You can only move, so this is 1 step, this is 2 steps. This is 3 steps, 4 steps, for example. If I want to get to here, or I can do 1, 2, yes, both are 4 steps. Okay? So that's how you move around. When you move around, this is how you can build stuff there. And eventually you need to move back to the Queen's Palace, and that will trigger the endgame. Okay, the next action you can do is to refresh. Alright, so you can let me get focus. So now you can refresh. So you can send them into the inn and then refresh one of your workers. That means you are actually choosing one of your workers, alright, to rotate anti-clockwise, like so. So this will give you one more use than what it previously had. Alright, so clockwise is always wearing the worker down. Anti-clockwise is to refresh the worker. So how do you do that? Now we need to go back to the player board again. So this is the player board. Again, we'll have a certain number of these tokens. Each of us will have all the same number of tokens. Alright, these tokens actually indicate the different types of workers that are available on the board. Alright, so what happens is you will follow the steps here. So first, if you have any of your tokens here, you will move them into this area. Alright, then any tokens that you have here will now move into this area. Lastly, you choose any number of tokens that you want and move them into this area, and then you rotate them. So what happens is I can choose a symbol. I can choose 1 or more. I can even choose all 6 symbols. Alright, but if I choose all 6 symbols, I must spend 21 tellers. If I only choose 1, I only pay 1. So let's say I chose 1. Alright, I chose this one. I move from here. I move from here to here. So this means that I need to pay 1 teller. But it also means that for all of the workers I have in my area that has this symbol, I can now rotate them anti-clockwise once. Alright, so all of them. So let's say I have a multiple purples, or let's say I have these two let's say I have these two white ones. These are glass blowers, alright? For example, I have these 2 glass blowers in my area. You can always have more than one of the same symbol, but they must be different portraits. You cannot have the same portrait. So let's say I have this. I can now rotate them both once anti-clockwise, and once anti-clockwise, just by using 1. So there's a benefit of having more than one of the same symbol, but most of the time it's better if you have different one, because if you look on the board and look at all the different requirements, right, they always all have different symbols available. Okay, so that's the refreshing. Right, just like the tavern, you're refreshing it. So take note that whenever you chose one to refresh, it will need some time before it gets back to you to the base again, before you can use it again to refresh that particular icon, particular crossman in your area. So last action you can do is to build. So this is where the main meat of the game is, because this is how you can win the game. So how do you build? First, you can build on a location where you are. there's also two types of building. Right, the first is normal building. So let's talk about normal building first. So where you are, you need to check whether you have craftsmen that belongs to these areas. Right, minimally these areas, these symbols. Right. So once you have, all right, you will now check all the current values of your craftsmen. So let's say, for example, I'm at this. All right. Right. So you check the values of all your craftsmen where the hammer symbol is. So in this case, I'll have 3 plus 1 plus 2. So that's 6. So my current value is 6. Alright. And then after that, is right now because my hands are not big enough, so I only can hold 3, but you will tally for all the craftsmen that you have on your board. So after that, you will check whether there's anybody has already placed a cube there or not. If no one has placed a cube there, you will place your cube and put on the 0 spot. Alright, it's always 0, minus 2, minus 4, minus 6. This is for the 4-player board. For the 2 or 3-player boards on the other side, it has fewer spots. Alright, so after you place it there, alright, then you see whether you have, you check your final value. So let's say if I have a value of 10, for example, and I have to come to the minus 2 because another player has done the minus 0. So my end value is, my final value is 8. Alright, so because 10 minus 2. So if I had 6, and then the first year I get 6. Now you check whether you have are above the maximum value or not. The final value you have is whether it's above maximum value. If it is above the maximum value, then you need to drop down to the maximum value, which is 15. Alright. Now with this final number, that means like 10, 15, 20. So like this one, there's no point going more than 20 because you'll always bring it down to 20. But you may need to go above 20 because of the slots available for you that are remaining. Right, because it's always 0, minus 2, minus 4, minus 6. So you, for example, if I want to go there and I'm the last slot there, I will need to have a value, a total craftsman value on my board of 26. So that 26 minus 6 is 20. So that's my maximum. I can min-max it in that way. Now with this final value that you have, you will now see how many spaces you want to move up this track here. Alright, so we all start at the bottom. So the bottom is here. Alright, so the bottom is here. Alright, we now start at the bottom. Now we will move up the number of spaces depending on the final value that we have gotten from building whatever we did to build. So if I had 20, for example, I can move past the 8. So I then have 12 left. Then I can move past the 7. I have 5 left. Now I cannot move past the 6 because my 5 left is not enough to move past the 6. So what happens is that for every points that I have left, I'll get 1 bond, which means I'll get 5 bonds now. So this is how you get bonds during the game. Alright, so this track is very important because it allows you to move up. And eventually when you reach here, right, you need to reach the top. Go back to the top here. So you reach the top there, which will indicate which will allow you to end the game. So when we reach the top there, when you reach here, alright, it means that now you need to have a minimum of 15 value in a worth of craftsman value, and then you need to make your way back here. Alright, and then that will trigger the game end. Okay, so so this is very important. This building is very important because it allows you to move up this track. Knowing when to build is also very important because you need to conquer the different numbers before you can move up the next level. If you have a value that is less than, let's say for example, this is 9 and 8, which is quite difficult because I need I probably can only move 1 step and then another step here before I prepare for 15. Alright, so this is probably quite a difficult setup, and this is randomly determined at the start of the game. So I need to plan properly. So if I do if I was here, for example, if I did 20, even with 20 I can only move 1 and 2 here, and I'll have the remaining left as bonds. Then I'll probably move 1 more step here, remaining left as bonds, and then prepare for 15 and then come back to here again. So building is very important in this for these purposes. There's another way to build. So the other way to build is to just do repairs. Alright, so if you go back to this action, alright, besides building at the different locations, you can also do repairs. Now how do you do repairs? You just need to choose three of your craftsmen. Alright, it doesn't matter where your carriage is, you just need to choose 3 of your craftsmen. Alright, then just rotate. Rotate. You can do up to 3. Sorry, up to 3 of the craftsmen. Alright. Then you will check how many points they have. Okay, so let's say you check the points here. Actually, you don't need to care about value. You check the points here. Sorry, you check the points here. Alright, so this is the amount of appreciation points you have. So if I chose this 3, which is not a very good example, if I chose this 3 for example, or if I choose this 2, I can choose this one and the orange one. I'll get 4 appreciation points. So if 4 is usually not enough to conquer any of them, maybe I just want bond, so I use 4. Then I will, after that, those that I've chosen, I'll need to click them 1 time. And this will click 1 time. Okay. Now if you do I forgot to mention, if you do the normal build, alright, after you build, all your craftsmen, alright, will need to click once. Alright. So if I was here, for example, and I need to click once, that's it. This craftsman is done. He's done his duty. He no longer wants to work. He wants to retire. So he goes back into the board. Sorry, he goes back into the game box, out of the game. Right. So again, build allows you to do 2 types of build. One is to build in a normal location. After that, every one of the craftsmen will click once. Or can do repairs. Repairs choose up to 3, and then they will click once, and the value you get is here. All right. And so yeah, that's it. That's the gist of the game. Now I mentioned if more than 1 people have managed just to come back to here and have the 15, alright, then whoever has the highest performance points or craftsmen in their area will be the winner of the game. Alright, it's quite unlikely so far. Most of the time, usually only 1 person has reached there and will win the game. So yeah, that's the gist of the game. Let's go to my thoughts about Queen's Architect. Okay, so that's the rules explanation for Queen's Architect. Now what do you think of the game? I do apologize that the rules was a bit, the explanation was a bit long, and it is quite a lot of things to get into, especially for new players. But once you play one or two rounds, you kind of get a hang of it, and it should flow much more smoothly for you. With all the players I played with, they didn't have much of a problem getting into it after 1 or 2 rounds. It reminds me a lot of Milestones, another game that I really liked, but it's a bit underrated. Not many people know about it, or it didn't get as much hype as a lot of the other games during its time. So Milestones also have like a rondel system where you move around the board and do different actions depending on where your person goes. So this is similar to that as well. I really like the way that the different craftsmen will have different number of uses depending on when you bought them. In my experience, it seems that you should not skimp. You should not be cheapskate and hire the cheaper craftsmen because they only have 1 or 2 uses, and then you need to worry about hiring more workers again. So always save money to try to get the more expensive craftsmen, and also you need to look at the market and decide when is the opportune time to grab them. We have encountered 1 craftsman like this. You have a set of starting craftsmen, and most of them are quite useful. Like for example, this craftsman, this lady, it starts with 6, then goes to 4, and then goes to 2, 1, 3, and the final one is 5. So it's quite interesting. There are some craftsmen later on you see like 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So it's a much more better gradual use of the craftsmen than the others. So some of the craftsmen you want to keep them for use later on, so you want to refresh them regularly so that you have much more use of them. So it's quite interesting way to manage your team of teamsters. The racetrack where you're racing up the scrolls is also a very interesting mechanism. But there is a problem in the sense that if there's a runaway leader problem, if the leader really goes far out, it's very unlikely that you can catch up to the leader. It requires a lot of your mental capacity to keep your momentum going on. You need to always be with the rest of the players. You cannot fall behind. Once you fall behind, it is very difficult for you to catch up with the rest of the players. So it's very punishing in the sense that if you screw up, if you make a mistake, and then you start to fall behind, you get out of your rhythm of moving around and doing stuff, and you kind of get out of sync with everything, then it's very unlikely that you can catch up, and then the game becomes a drag for you. But luckily the game is not too long. It takes about an hour. There is quite a fair bit of AP though, because players are thinking, okay, if I want to go here, what can I do now? Which workers I want to get? And if people keep hiring and they screw up your plans because the worker that you wanted is gone now, then you need to rethink all your plans again. You need to see where you're moving, and there's a lot of interaction among players as well, because when they go to a particular town, they'll get those spots, and then now, originally calculated just nice that I'll get this amount of points to allow me to move up now. Now because another player has gone there and taken it before you, I'll now have -2, -4, -6 points, and then now I need to rethink all my things again. So there could be some analysis paralysis there as well. But all in all, it is a very good game. I'm not sure whether there's different paths to victory yet, but I still think that it is a very good medium weight meaty game. Alright, so I recommend this, and thanks to Queen's Gate and Asmodee for this review copy. Thanks for watching.